looking for a spot to elevate. He needs to be very, very careful not to lose that shuttle, and it looks like he might lose that shuttle, which would have been worth the Dragoons. Gets out with 26 health, but actually doing a pretty good job of pressing this back. I'm not sure where the Goliaths were that were supposed to be in that shuttle, so he's going to be able to take out that tank. Looks like that shuttle was still taken out around that corner, but the Dragoon's going to wander up. Some SCVs having to come off the line to provide some defense, and it looks like Idra is kind of running pretty well here, but still going to take some SCV damage, and that's going to put Mana in a pretty good position to even things up. Keep in mind, I got to lose these Dragoons to the powerful SCV, 60 health, totally unfair. Look at that. It's just, they're like little mini tanks. It's the entire army of Terran have to be based around tank warfare. Anyway, he's got 3 factories running. Able to handle that pretty easily, getting up some turrets now of his own, and just like the turret versus cannon defense and also the siege tanks really on that corner, it's going to be very difficult for Mana to play economic catch-up or really push and strike damage. It looks like he's going to continue to load in these Dragoons almost to just run in, take out a single Goliath, and continue to die. That group, wow, the group repair on that tank actually might be able to finish the rest of these off. It looks like 3, just group, never mind, he managing to get it with that group kill, that Goliath. I'm not sure what he was doing. Looks like an observer killed out in the field, and Idra continuing to press this back, but in a little bit of trouble because Mana still has that shuttle, still able to he's investing a lot in this attack though. He's not getting a lot of SCV kills, and it looks like Idra's still able to fight this off. And this is actually, it looks like there's been a counter drop in the meantime that completely devastated Mana's main. So Mana's actually completely dedicated to this attack now. He's running off a single base, single Marine actually hanging out there too. He's dedicated to this entire attack because it looks like he managed to flood a couple probes back, but nevertheless, it's one base versus nothing, and he's going for a counter drop in here. I think the SCVs will be able to clean this up nicely, and once again the powerful SCV showing its strength on island maps. I mean, you can just run up, just kill the units that are dropped immediately with your SCV force and not really worry about it until you get to that Templar tech, I guess. But anyway, it looks like Mana is actually doing a pretty good job of maneuvering back and forth, keeping Idra on his toes. He's still pretty far back economically. Looks like he's got 2 shuttles up in the air now. More Dragoons starting to run in, but it looks like Idra is still going to be able to continue to produce the Goliaths and continue to produce, well, maybe not produce the siege tanks, but he's having to bring these. Actually, I take it back. Mana actually might be doing okay economically just because Idra's having to bring these SCVs off the line so frequently to defend against these attacks, and it looks like he's landed with enough Dragoons that this isn't really going to be it's going to be more successful, like at least killing a couple of these SCVs. Might get a siege tank as well, does manage to get a siege tank as well. So Mana's pressure continuing to hold, but I still think that Mana's economy has just been so devastated over time that this isn't going to hold up for very long, and because he wasn't taking additional base in this meantime, as long as Idra holds out, which it looks like he just managed to, also going to be able to kill an observer right there, he's just going to end up winning the long game here. So on backing off that corner, I'm not sure why he's not just running up and engaging and using that mischance to his advantage, because right now, look at this, Mana's still running off 1 gas essentially. It looks like he's getting a robotics facility finally, and he's now setting up another probe to take another base. Idra though is already wandering out here to the 3 o'clock to take his additional base, and in a fantastic position, honestly. I think he can continue to pump out the troops. Looks like he's at about 86 supply comparatively to 75 supply. A little bit supply capped, maybe a little bit overzealous. He felt like he could keep losing the troops to Mana, I guess, and replenishing in that regard, not have to invest in supply depots. Running at 5 factories, and it looks like he's already got weapons 1 on the way here. He's also plapping a couple more factories down, and he's got a lot of dropships already out in the air. And I don't really see the amount of dropships being comparable here for Mana, unfortunately, and he's really going to have to do more with less still, which tends to be the factor for protoss just always. Another drop coming in, going to stop this new expansion from going up. I don't think Mana can really counter this and keep from going, and now Mana's really in a bad position because he needs to take an additional base, but at the same time he needs to stop Idra from expanding, and I don't think he can do really either. He can't do both at the same time is essentially what I'm trying to say, and losing a precious dropship, going to lose both dropships, which puts him in an absolutely horrible position now because he has absolutely 0 mobility. The siege tank's going to continue to wail. Looks like the Dragoon's going to come to the high ground, but they're still not going to be able to save this Nexus. And it looks like the Dragoon's just going to back off on that corner, finally getting cancelled. But once again, it looks like Mana is down to 2 bases, sticking with the Dragoons holding this line as to not get dropped on again. And in the meantime, Idra's just happy to just build a bunch of dropships, build a bunch of siege tanks, build a bunch of Goliaths, and press on from there. And it looks like, there's 2 Dragoons on the high ground, They're not going to last very long. It looks like he's going to be in time just to see those being built, killing an SCV, well, hitting an SCV on the corner, and it looks like he's going to try to sneak a Nexus here at the low ground. Unfortunately, I believe Idra does in fact see that, yeah, across the corner, so that's not very long for life. Also, another key factor is if Idra really does need to get a good look towards the low ground, he has that little Marine that he can run around in the base, so that's kind of a scouting X factor here. And right now it's just kind of it's a weird contained game here for Idra. Idra just needs to build a bunch of Goliaths, isolate all the expansions he thinks that Mana might go for, make sure he doesn't take them, and he's going to take the game. In fact, what he might do, just to be annoying and clever here, is make sure that Nexus goes up before he kills it, so Mana ends up losing all of his resources. So a couple Dragoons moving to the low ground, but if there's even one or two, there's two siege tanks right there. That Nexus is just about finished, so pretty big investment right there. Some Dragoons moving up. They think they can save this. Oh, misfire right there, and some Dragoons wandering up as well as some repair. Shuttle coming around. Shuttle needs to be very careful. Gets taken out again, and now it's just the game is air superiority. Idra just has absolute air superiority, has ground superiority. Weapons 1 should be finished momentarily, and he's just got a ton of troops, a ton of factories, and very nice economy. He can keep running. Mana has to try to take these desperate expansions, but it's just not going to happen. A single siege tank is going to be able to take that out. Looks like he's going to try to protect it with 5 Dragoons along the corner. A single Dragoon getting dropped to the low corner, not really accomplishing anything there. But really, it's just a huge mobility issue. Is the shuttles are not going to cut it at this stage, and honestly, Mana, yeah, he's still stuck at this tier tech. He does have the robotics facility, the robotics support bay to get that shuttle speed, but honestly, it's a long ways off. He doesn't really have all that many shuttles to do anything with, and in the meantime, Idra has a very large tank force. He has a growing dropship count, and he's just going to be able to completely absolutely pummel Mana in a just short period of time. I wouldn't be surprised if he just decides to just wander in, go to the main. Looks like actually Mana, I assume he intentionally left this Nexus up. I think he intentionally left this Nexus up just so it would die, so dedicate a couple forces here. Still heavy loss of resources, and maybe if he can hold this middle double gas, he can do something. But really, I'm doubting it. He's got too much territory to cover. He's got to pray that Idra doesn't just go for a death strike, and in the meantime it looks like Idra is doing just that. He's already at 152 supply. Comparatively, we're looking at 108 in the red, and not a very good position to be in. And there is the Doom fleet itself. I almost want to play the Star Wars theme here. Looks like Idra is building his own command center to retake whatever he decides to annihilate. I think he could, well, he might go to that upper left-hand corner, but I think he's just going to wander in here as kind of an afterthought once he unloads all these troops here to the north. And it looks like Mana has absolutely nothing in defense. It's going to take him forever just to get some shuttles and some troops up there. He's going to end up losing that support bay, maybe before speed is finished as well. The shuttle wandering up, getting taken out, and this entire game, yeah, has just been very, very, very far in Idra's favor. Part of it, I kind of blame it being an island map above other things, but Mana GG's. Moving on to set 2. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.